Welcome back to Robcasts. This video is to tell you the story of one of the greatest pulp writers to walk this earth, Frederick Schiller Faust. Schiller went by many different pen names, but only used his real name for his poetry. He was often referred to as Max Brand, being one of the most famous of his pen names, which he often used when writing in Western pulps. He was born in Seattle on May 29, 1882, to Gilbert and Louisa Faust, who died in his youth. He was an only child and lived a difficult and poor life as an orphan, spending lots of time working on cow farms as a cowhand in the San Joaquin Valley. He attended 19 different schools before graduating high school. Through family connections, he was able to go to the University of California, Berkeley, where he began writing avidly for his school paper along with other programs around school. Although he failed to graduate at Berkeley, he commenced what would become a very successful writing career. Under his pen name, he made a huge impression on pulp magazines and is known to be one of the greatest contributors, writing over 400 westerns. In the 1927 Western Story magazine I personally own, he published his first of a six-part story, Smiling Charlie, which appeared as the first story in the magazine. When America entered World War I in 1917, he tried to enlist in the Army, but was denied. A few years later, in 1920, he moved to New York, where he began to sell stories to pulp magazines, including the Western Story magazine, a magazine that I personally have in my possession. The next year, he married his wife, whom he would have 3 children with, Dorothy Schiller Faust. In that same year, he suffered from a severe heart attack that caused heart issues for him the rest of his life. While writing millions of words that found their way into pulp magazine as Max Brand, he created 2 of his most famous characters that eventually reached beyond just print. His character, Destry, from the novel Destry Rides Again, was used for the making of the 1954 movie Destry. The most famous of his characters was Kildar, or Dr. Kildar, that was featured in movies, radio, TV, and comic books. In the 1930s, he and his family picked up and moved to Italy, where he was writing for slick magazines. Due to political strife in Italy, the Faust family moved to Hollywood, where he began to work for major movie giants such as MGM and Warner Brothers. The Great Depression was a peak in his career. He was one of the highest paid authors in the country, making $3,000 a week. When America entered the Second World War, he was given the opportunity to serve his country, an opportunity he was unable to have in the First World War. Although he was technically too old to enlist, he was able to serve as a frontline war correspondent. He was sent to Italy, where he was brutally wounded soon after his arrival. Faust died from the wounds on May 12, 1944. He was commended for his bravery by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Frederick Schiller Faust died having published 30 million words. Thanks for tuning in once again to Robcasts.